Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of Lex's Budget Bunker Build. It's been a long, slow week. Finally the weekend's here for me. It's actually Monday here, but that's my weekend, Monday and Tuesday. So finally I've got a day to get stuck into the project, into the bunker. So today's goal is to build the basic frame of the elevator. So this will be what the winch is mounted into, and also it'll carry a car battery for power, and it's going to run up and down those rails that I put in last week. So these are the wheels, the guide wheels, I suppose, if for want of a better word. So these are actually gate rollers, so they're designed to you'd have on one of those security gates, and that would slide in and out between these. I think they take a loading of about 40 kg each. They're very solid nylon, and there's going to be several of them each side. So remembering this is not taking any real, it's only taking very little load just to keep it going straight up and down. The actual lifting, there's none of the lifting weight on these at all. It's just simply as a guide. So I don't really have any sort of clear plans on how I'm going to do this. I've got a few ideas, so I'll just work it out as we go along as usual. But yeah, let's get on to it. Alright, so my first job is to cut a couple of strips out of this steel. I think that's 1/4 inch deck tread. So I found this in the skip. Unbelievable, right? I mean, a piece of steel like this would probably, to buy it from the steel shop would probably be at least a couple of $100. The stuff's as expensive as all hell in New Zealand. It's heavily galvanized. That's maybe a double-edged sword for me, because I'm going to have to grind all that off to be able to weld it, but that's fine. But this will clean up quite nicely. And so the idea here is to have a couple of strips of this. It's thick enough that it shouldn't flex, and if it does, I can put a piece of box channel or something in there just to hold it together. But the idea is I'll drill holes in it and then mount the pulleys up the wheels. I'll have one each end, one in the middle. May have to maybe slot that so I can adjust it up and down a little bit. I don't know. I might, we'll come to that. We come to that when we come to it. But yeah, so there'll be a wheel there and a wheel there, and then that'll slide up and down that channel. There'll be one each side, and then I'll build the rest of the frame to hold these plates. And yeah, let's see how we get on. First job's give it a bit of a clean. She's pretty, I thought it was bent for a minute, but put a straight edge on there, and I think it's an optical illusion. I think it's got a slight curve that way, but this way is straight out, and that's the way I want to cut it. So this is what's that? Around 550, which is pretty much the exact length that I wanted to make those strips. I was planning on about 500, so 550's close enough. So that'll give me the size, enough room inside the frame to mount the motor and the battery and control gear, and also make it quite stable. Because if I make this, I don't know, almost like a box car, if you make it too short, it's still going to have a bit of play in it inside the channel. If I make it long, it should be pretty stable. Enough yapper, let's get cutting. Oops. Floor's not very stable, sorry, the camera's bouncing around like crazy. just move you guys over here. Actually, the camera is actually sitting on the hatch of the bunker shaft, and of course it's not the most stable. Just giving this a bit of a clean so that I can mark it out for the cutting. Right. Marker. Whether that actually works. Here we go. I'm thinking I'll make them about 120. So the channel is what is it? It's 70 mil. Between the inside diameter of the channel is 70 mil, and then I think it's about 6 mil thick, so gets it up to about just over 80 mil thick. So which brings it to there, and then we want it to a little bit of an overlap, because we don't want the mount. We don't want this roller right on the edge. It could snap through. We want a bit of meat there, so I'm thinking. So we're allowing for the thickness of the steel. Come in 15. There's plenty of meat, and then add 70 to that, so that gets there to 85. So the next one will be there. That's about 120. That gives me a bit of also gives me a bit of meat past the channel to weld or bolt my box section onto. So I'll go for 120. Doing? Got my glasses on, I can't make any excuses there. I put that in completely the wrong spot. Like an amateur. Just double check that one. Yep. This is where a plasma cutter or one of those water cutting devices would be real cool for cutting this. Sadly, I don't have those sort of resources on hand, so it's going to be a long, slow cut with a cutting wheel on a grinder. Not ideal, but you know, basically, I guess I'm just trying to prove the point that you can do this stuff without the fancy gear. Takes a bit longer, a whole lot noisier. But you know, just because you don't have the money and resources to get all that fancy gear, shouldn't stop you from getting these sort of projects done. When I say where there's a will, there's a way. Alrighty. So there's me lines all marked out. I've just got to cut them now. That's going to be the fun part of the job. Well, guys, as I've said in the past, I'm pretty much making this up as I go along. What I've done here, I don't know if this is going to work out or not, but I've clamped this piece of wood here as a bit of a guide to hopefully assist with keeping a nice straight line. I mean, I've got a line on there to follow, but I'm just trying to keep this grinder steady as I do the cut. Yeah, these aren't designed to be used quite like this, but see how she goes. Just remembering this is coated in galvanizing. I think I'll wear a mask. I'm going to be breathing all that shit in. Woohoo! Look at that. It's done the job. So the wood idea was good to get that groove started. Once I'd got the initial cut done, this kind of was getting in the way. I noticed it was causing me to get the blade, I think, a little bit out of square, and then it was grabbing. It chewed a big chunk of the blade off. But that's basically, it's worn out one blade to do that one cut. These blades are about, I buy them in bulk, they're about $2, work out about $2 each. So, you know, if I took this into a steel shop to get them to cut it for me, I don't know what they'd charge me, but I mean, you know, by the time they've set it up in their machine and the cost of using the machine, I would posit it would cost me a lot more than $2 to get that cut. So it took a little bit of time, but it's a time bit, probably about, I don't know, 15 minutes. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Let's crack on and do the next one. There we go, second piece cut. And I noticed I used less of the cutting wheel on this one, so obviously just getting better at using it. Key lesson I've learned is and it takes a bit of discipline, is to let the tool do the cutting, because the natural inclination is to chuck a bit of weight behind it. And all that does is chew the wheel up quicker. Doesn't actually cut any quicker, really, not significantly. You just got to let the tool do its job, however long that might take. And yeah. Right, I've just got to clean these edges up, because that's like a razor blade at the moment. I just see myself slicing open my hand, so we'll tidy them up and then crack the lid on the shaft and get down there and measure it up for the where I'm going to put these guide wheels. Hey folks, so occasionally I have what I consider to be a half-pie good idea, and I think this is one of those. I thought, well, rather than make this thing out of steel and then risk that it's not going to work out, I'll just do it in wood first. Just make a prototype in wood, and then I can take it down into the shaft, get a sense of whether it's going to work or not, or it needs to be changed in any way. And then once I've sort of got that working well, then I can duplicate it in steel. So I'm going to take it down into the shaft now and see how that feels in the channel. Right, let's give this a shot. Oh dear. Alright, there's my first problem. I do actually need to take those rollers closer to the edge. Yeah, in hindsight, what I probably should have done is actually have had the rail out from the wall a little bit. But trouble is, the more I bring this out, then of course it narrows the effective width of the shaft. And the reason that is undesirable is because once the shaft's complete, the elevator's done, and I've done some tunneling, I'm going to want to take things down there, right? And the hole's too small, then that's going to be a problem. So, I'm actually thinking pieces of furniture and stuff like that later on. So, a couple of comfy chairs and widescreen TV, and yeah, I know I'm looking ahead a bit there, but if I go and make the shaft too small and I can't get any of that stuff down there, then it's going to make for a pretty miserable sort of a bunker. So that's why I really wanted to keep this as far back to there as possible. I think a standard doorway is something like 768 mil, and so most furniture will fit through that sort of a doorway, because it's like 2 meters. But the thing is, yeah, it's 2 meters tall. So I don't have the height, as it were, but I've got a diagonal, so that'll accommodate a pretty big TV put in there sideways. But I definitely don't want to make it any narrower. So that was the right move, to keep that back up against the wall. In hindsight, I probably like if I was redoing, starting this from scratch again, I'd probably make it a little bit wider. But again, the wider you make it, the more soil you got to shift, the more concrete you got to pour, and the expense goes up. So it's a balancing act. But anyway, I'll modify this and we'll give this another shot. And so yeah, this idea, great, because I was, I could have otherwise made that out of steel, and then with all the extra work that entails, and then be redoing it. Right guys, you can see I've played around a little bit here. Third hole It's the lucky one. So I trimmed a bit off this edge, and then it still wouldn't fit. I drilled another hole. It was still a bit wide. And the third hole looks to be about perfect. Slides in there. Beautiful. Okay. Now that rubbing noise, you can hear it. Oh, come on. It's because it's the ends here are hitting this outside of the channel. When this is actually made with the frame, it's not actually going to go quite all the way into the channel. That's the idea. So it'll be out sort of about 5 mil, and it'll be reasonably quiet. So one each side. It'll keep it, and I'm hoping we'll keep it all lined up, and it'll go up and down quite smoothly. We will see. Now to do one in steel. All right, I think I've had another idea. It's getting dangerous. What I'm thinking of doing is I'll clamp this nut on here and use this drill bit, which just fits in there, to find the centre, and then I'll drill this hole out slightly bigger, and then I'll weld this nut on the inside of this plate, and then where's my pulley gone? Then screw, so instead of having a nut on there, screw this into there. So that'll be yeah, they'll strengthen that. Doesn't matter, it'll be in the right position so that the wheel extends past the edge of this, and then I can put a nut and a spring washer on the opposite side of it to hold it all in place. And I think that's going to make it a lot stronger, and it'll be in the perfect position. So let's give that a shot. This, clamp it, try and clamp it right on the edge so I can still get the drill bit in there. Just in a bit from the corner there, so there's a bit of meat there to weld around. This is a bugger. I need to get it right on the edge, otherwise I'm not going to be able to get the drill bit in there. That looks to be it. Right. That'll do it. Now I'll chuck a pilot hole through there and then drill out, as I say, slightly bigger. Grind all the galv off, weld that on, and we're in business. And we're through. Same again, your end. Which is the small one? Oh, that was. Beautiful. So I want to go a bit bigger than that. I reckon that one. Hey guys, I'll stop playing around and I'll use the wheel tool. The wheel tool press. Well, helps if I play that rather than the grinder. Still not working. What am I doing? That's yeah, God, that took this backed up. You can see that's, that's a little bit thinner than I'd like, to be honest. But once that nut's on there, welded all the way around, that'll be plenty strong enough. Right, I got these bolted on. So let's a bit of weld. This is usually where I grab the wrong bit and burn myself, hence the gloves. Actually, I've got another one of my ideas. Right, so this felt pretty perfect as far as the holes lining up, because it's not quite lined up. Oh, damn it. Because that's the hole I want to position. Beautiful. So that's the one I want to get. Right, I won't weld this one on just yet. I'll just put it in to place it, and then I'll try it in the channel and see how it looks. I'm going to let it cool down a bit first because these are nylon and I don't want them getting hot and softening and deforming.